Good morning.
How's it going, everyone? We're here again with another Loners.
Reporting back.
Yep.
From another foggy day in Los Angeles.
We hope you guys like our recent videos. All right. Well,
yeah.
We appreciate you guys for coming by and watching. Max appreciates you guys too.
It's cuddle hour.
All right. This is episode 255. Sorry, it's more in the morning right now, so I'm still waking up, kind of. But
are you okay? Brian's like loading.
I know, yeah.
Anyway,
no,
we got a long day, so we got up early so we can get stuff done.
Yeah, we're gonna go pick up our niece today, or her niece today.
She's on winter break.
Yep.
And of course, she's been counting down the days until she's coming over here. I'm so sorry, guys, for the delay. Okay, let's just get into this video. I hope everyone had a great Christmas.
Yeah.
As of now, Christmas has not hit us as we're filming this.
But it will be.
But it'll be over by the time we post this. So I hope everyone had a great holiday. Hope it wasn't too stressful. And I hope there wasn't too many fights in your family. And if there was, share them below because I am nosy.
So, yep.
Max wants to know too.
All right. So today's video is how many Australian accents are there really? Let's see. You Aussies.
Good day. How you going?
Everything, mate. Good mates, good times, having a great time, mate. Yeah, we good mates.
You know it when you hear it, right? The Aussie accent.
Hello, I'm Paul Barry. Welcome to Media Watch.
Hello and welcome to Gardening Australia.
When they find out that I do the voice of Bandit, right? They go, oh my God.
You know what it is. It's the good old meat pie.
If you know Australians or you are Australian, you've heard the voice. But you're not crazy if you think there might be little differences in the way Aussies speak around the country and between generations. Some of our top linguists agree.
It may be that this country will become the most valuable acquisition Britain has ever made.
To learn how close Australians are to the kind of regional accent variation you might get in the UK or...
But so I've heard with the history of Australia that the UK banished its criminals to that island and then they just live there. I don't know how accurate that is, so let me know.
I've heard that too.
United States, I started reading what those linguists have to say. This paper looks at 4 parts of Victoria, Australia's most densely populated state, to see if there's any difference in the way people speak from one end to the other. It looks at one of the most characteristic accent features of that state, the one that makes Victorians say Melbourne instead of Melbourne or Melbourne, and showed that in the state's north, it's dying out. But in the south, in the city of Melbourne itself and on the coastal town of Warrnambool, it's getting stronger.
In Warrnambool, the sound change was advancing. So that meant that more people were merging those two sounds together, whereas in Mildura, only the older people were doing that. And it was like this sound change had reversed in the younger community.
Merging the L and L.
I thought all Australians said Melbourne. And then...
I guess not. Yeah, I guess it's only in the southern area, like Victoria. Yeah.
I thought people just can sense you were a foreigner if you said Melbourne.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I thought too.
Sounds is just one of the changes happening around Australia right now. Where I'm from in Western Australia, here is a word with 2 syllables. In New South Wales, it might just have 1. In Queensland, you might say you're going to school or having a swim at the pool. In South Australia, they might drop the L entirely and sound more like school or pool. Let's start with this one. Just read it out and then read it down into the camera.
There's no chance of clear skies here in Melbourne, but here we feel like going to the pool.
There's no chance of clear skies in Melbourne, but here we feel like going to the pool.
Yeah. There's no chance of clear skies in Melbourne, but here we feel like going to the pool.
Yeah.
Linguists stop short of calling these all new accents, and for good reason. But you're not alone if you've noticed the little differences when they do appear. Around Australia, people take a lot of pride in their lingo and particular accent, and they're not above having a bit of fun with other Aussies on the subject.
Most Queenslanders tend to say France, demand, Command. It's not demand, command. France, because we
Huh.
don't want to sound like a wanker.
When I went to Queensland, I had to get a bit nasally. Victoria.
That's where I went with my sister when she was living there. Queensland? That's the area.
Is it a little more high class people or what? I'm confused. Why did he have to pull out the nasally voice?
I don't know, to be honest. Maybe it is compared to other parts of Australia. Because I know I've heard of this place called Darwin is like the...
Isn't that like the... Never mind.
It's the Bogan
Okay,
area.
yeah, that's what I was going to say, but I didn't
that's what I
wanna
heard.
offend anyone and then be wrong.
They speak. There's a little bit of an Ocker twang to it, and in Sydney, it's a tiny bit stuffy.
Generally, no, I don't think people say, "Oh, you're from Melbourne," when I'm talking to them. I feel like it's a more gentle Australian accent, if there's such a thing.
Ultimately, the state you're from is only part of what makes an Aussie accent unique. For a better explanation, we need to look at the way people from different regions, generations, and social classes have expressed themselves over time. Going back to ABC clips from just 50 years ago, it's pretty clear to see who's making an effort to sound a certain way and who's using their genuine voice.
What is our question? Oh yes, do Australians speak with a bad accent?
Extremely badly.
I think that they're lazy.
They speak as though they have a piece of barbed wire clamped on both sides of their jaw.
Loose tongues, loose mouth.
They speak like that with their mouth like that.
You speak nice. Nicely, actually. I like grammar too. Thank you for your correction.
Researchers looking at the diversity of Australian English have come a long way. One of the biggest breakthroughs in recent work has been our understanding of Aboriginal Australian English and the ways that it varies between communities around the country and even within those communities.
When it comes to Aboriginal communities, whether they're speaking Creole or Aboriginal English or their own dialect, for example, that accent definitely changes across the regions, varying towns and communities. You can tell the difference between like the Northern Territory mob and the Kimberley mob, and same as the Queensland mob and the New South Wales.
Some of the research that's going on in Aboriginal English is looking, for example, some work that I've done is looking at sound changes. So one of the things that we can rely on about languages is that it will change. You know, that's why older people often have comments on younger people's accents. And certainly the kinds of sound changes that occur in different communities occur.
I honestly overlook how many accents we have in the States. We have a lot of accents here.
Yeah. Well, it makes sense why.
Yeah, we need to do a video on that because I forget about that we have a lot of accents too.
I always thought it was interesting growing up that they would make us feel that everyone in certain states spoke the same when really they didn't. Like you're from Texas, and they make it seem like everyone speaks like
with that southern accent. You know? Yeah, they do make it seem like that.
A lot of people do, but it is the older generations I've noticed.
No, it's just depending where you're at.
That's true.
Because I know people who live in certain areas that talk like that. But like when I came out here and moved here, people were like, "You don't have a Texas accent," and I'm like, "Not everyone in Texas speaks like a cowboy."
Everyone I've ever met from Texas, and I've met a lot of people, not one of them has an accent.
Because they're from like
different
city
parts.
areas. Yeah.
But even you're not from like a city area.
It's a city. It's just small.
A very small city.
Yeah.
Different rates.
Offhand comments might be the end of it for some people, but for a lot of Australians with a voice that falls outside the mainstream, there's a tough choice to make about changing it to meet expectations.
There's been some research projects that I've not been involved in, but where people will play recordings and say, do you think this person's employable? Do you think this person is a nice person? And if they don't sound like a mainstream speaker, they'll have more negative judgments.
And not everyone can do that. And it absolutely is an obstacle because people can judge you on your accent. People can judge you on the way you talk. They may think you're less educated or not as intellectual.
I mean, that happens
here too.
Do you
find yourself changing your voice for a certain situation or a certain person?
I don't think so, because there's a difference between an accent and some people choose to speak a certain way, and those are the dialects that sound like, okay, people are making like judgments and assumptions, whereas if it's just an accent.
So you're saying when people kind of talk like Like they might not be from the best area or something like that.
Right, but not just that. There are certain, I've seen this online a lot, where somebody up until they were like 17 spoke one way, and then all of a sudden they're changing the way they speak to present themselves.
Like fit into a persona.
Yeah, to look a little more hard. And I'm
got
like,
it.
what
Yeah.
are you doing?
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So that I can see, like if you're actively choosing to do that versus it's just because that's how you grew up speaking.
Yeah.
I think I probably did when I was first starting out as a journalist. I really had to make a conscious effort not to have a kind of nasal strine, which is sometimes associated with Queensland voices as well. I couldn't work out what the words were for used to. And
So what is it about Queensland that has that nasally? Because that guy said he held his nose.
I don't know.
If he went there, and I assume that was
I mean, I
like,
do notice it actually.
I'm more high class or some shit. I don't know.
I guess I do notice it now that I'm thinking about it because those are the people I met that were from that area.
Oh, I'm wondering why.
I don't know. It's just how they are.
I guess I
where
gotta
they
go
grew
back
up.
to Australia and venture out and see.
Yeah, I would be down to go back.
I feel like.
Oh, but we went to Sydney when we stopped by.
Yeah, and we stopped in Melbourne, but that was just for a layover.
No, Sydney.
But we remember. Never mind. Forget it. I love you. Sometimes I just remember more things than you, and then you forget, and then you're like, no, and I'm like, no. It's
two.
And a bloody good accent.
That guy, he sounds drunk.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. I want to learn I want to see a video I saw one that's there about the slang, Australia slang. I'm sure they have a lot. You guys probably have a ton.
I'm sure it sounds like a whole nother language to
Yeah.
us.
Yep.
All right. Well, I remember when I was a kid, I used to get Australian and
English?
Yes.
Yeah. I think everyone did.
British. Yeah. I used to get English accents confused, and then when you try to mimic it, it would almost like fall in between.
Yeah.
So
it's so true.
It's funny.
All right. Well, I'll put the original in the description, guys. Also, if you guys would like, our blog channel is available for subscription as well. You just have to follow the link in the description of this video. All right. Well, hope you enjoyed that video, guys. And we hope you had a good Christmas, and we'll see you after New Year's.
Ciao.